Welcome to the Imaginative Storm Writing Prompt of the Week session. I'm James Navé.
I'm Allegra Houston.
And every Saturday, we get together with a group of writers and we write for 10 minutes and we do it within the frame of an hour. What else goes on Saturday, Allegra?
Well, Nave, let me tell you. We're doing bad screenwriting here, where the dialogue between the characters is actually for the benefit of the audience, and the characters are just telling each other something they already know. So if you're writing screenplays, make sure you don't do that. Okay. My favorite, the only thing I remember about The Mosquito Coast, the movie, is being annoyed that the characters did that. I can't remember. Maybe I was wrong, but anyway. What do? We share an image, we put it up on the screen for 2 minutes, and we ask everybody on the call, which now includes you, because this is an extension of our Zoom call. We ask everybody to write a list of words inspired by that image. Doesn't matter what the words are, just a list, not joined up writing. And the more random, the better. They don't have to have anything to do with the image at all. If whatever words just pop into your mind, write them down.
And so what we're going, excuse me, what we're going to do now is show you that image, and we encourage you to write them down using a pen. You might be leaning toward the keyboard. We love the keyboard. It's a great service to humanity. The pen, however, is your magic wand. So we encourage you to write with a pen. So here's your image now, and we'll time you for the 2 minutes. So now you have your personal list of words, which is also what happens every Saturday on our call. And once everybody generates their personal list of words, we go around the Zoom room and collect one word or phrase from each person. So we have not only the personal list that everybody has for themselves, we also have a community list. So Allegra is now going to read you our community list. So you will have that as well.
It's a kind of
Allegra?
it's a kind of collective imagination. And it's funny how certain words in it pop up in many people's writing, and then other words just in a few. Anyway, here it is. Outskirts. What do I know? Tete-a-tete. Lotus brain. Touch me tender. Kabuki. Masked expressions. Longing for color. Russian drag, hidden beauty, the face behind, white privilege, peace, peace, bloody tears. It's a costume party. Dyed by hand. Fuchsia. Good witches. Would that I could. Pink mannequin. Pink Floyd. Itchy. Eyes blankly staring. Effort to fake spring. Dragon fruit. Shall we enter desire? Three-eye atlas. Now, the nice thing that happens when a lot of people on the Zoom call are each individually offering their own word is that people mishear it. So when Linda said pink mannequin, some people heard peak mannequin, including me, and somebody else heard pig mannequin, as I know because in my breakout room, somebody used peak mannequin and pig mannequin. So feel free to play around with these words. Maybe you did write them down as I read them. Don't worry if you didn't. Obviously, you can, go back and play that bit again. But we will also put those words up during the 10-minute writing time, which is the next thing to happen.
And those words that you can play with also play with your imagination as well. It works both ways. So when you dive into this 10-minute timed writing, allow yourself to lean into the fancy of your imagination. And when you come upon something that seems maybe a little more dramatically fancy than you've had in the past, go with it and see where it takes you. And we promise you that when you do that, you will find more and more unfolding as you go through this 10-minute timed writing. And it's a wonderful romp. And we'll time you. And how about let us begin now?
We hope you enjoyed that, and we hope you romped and let the words play with your imagination as well as the other way around. What we would like to do now is give you the opportunity to let your voice play with your imagination and the words by reading the work aloud. We do that every week. And Navé, why don't you tell the people why we do it?
We do it because when you speak, you bring a new element into the editing process. You also bring the ancient art form of storytelling out to accommodate your editing process. We were born as storytellers. We started crying and we've been talking ever since. So when you speak, you're doing something that will allow you to focus your imagination and your intellectual processes as well onto the writing that you've done. So it's just a way of expanding. And it's also a way of enjoying things. When you speak something, it's just a wonderful thing to experience. So if you put us on pause right now and speak aloud, you'll discover things that you might not have known before. So off you go.
Many people say to us that when they read their work aloud, they noticed things in it that they didn't know were there, that they hadn't quite been aware of when they were writing it. And our after chat today kind of focused very much on that idea, because if you remember the image, maybe you'll go back and look at it. There are elements in that image that for 12 years after Navé took that photograph at a Venetian festival in Paris, for 12 years, he didn't notice there were any people in the background. And when he first showed that image to me, maybe 4 or 5 years ago, I didn't notice either. Only when the image was cropped, when Navé cropped the image, did we notice the one guy in the background. But did you notice there's more than the one guy? There are other people too. So that is very much what happens when you write from the imaginative storm. Things come in. Once you open up, just like once you pick up the camera, once you put pen to paper, things come in that you didn't realize were there. And one of the great beauties about reading your work aloud, not reading it silently on the page, doesn't happen the same way. But when you read your work aloud, you start to notice those things you didn't know were there.
And I think actually, I just thought of this. You connect to the rhythm of your body and to your heartbeat when you're reading your work aloud. So it becomes quite natural in a way that reading silently, uh, I want to say doesn't come natural. Reading silently is a natural process. But when you read your work aloud, it complements the silence. So there's a relationship between all of this. It's just about expansion. So we're glad
Also,
that you're expand. Yes.
well, also there's a difference between reading silently and reading aloud. When you read silently, you're looking for things that are wrong, things you can change. When you read aloud, you don't have the ability to change things on the page right now because you're reading, you're in the flow. So you tend to notice what you like more than what you don't like. And that is one of the ways to retrain your inner critic into being your inner coach, praiser, whatever you want to call it. But when you start focusing on what you like about your writing rather than what you don't like, it's energizing, it's motivating, and it pushes you with no effort whatsoever towards what you find strong and likable about your writing, which probably is what surprised you when you weren't trying to write well, when you didn't quite know what you were going to write, when you opened yourself up to those romping imaginative possibilities. And so it's just reading aloud is, I think, one of the most powerful ways to train your imagination to give you its gifts onto the page.
And carrying that a little further, since we're on this, and we hope you appreciate what we're saying if you're listening to this. When I
Otherwise, you can
read
just
my
fast forward.
Yeah, I when I read my work aloud, I revise as I go. I have very little regard for the permanence of what's on the page. I do all sorts of additional stuff as I'm reading. So I'm composing while I'm reading aloud. So I have a very expansive relationship with the spoken word and the written word. And I'm not locked down, and I don't allow myself to be locked down. I can always go back and get rid of it later down the line.
I
But
don't do
everybody has a
that.
everybody has the point here,
There's a
my
different
friends.
way of going about it. Yeah.
And when you do this kind of range finding by reading aloud, reading silently, reading in a closet, reading in a football field, wherever you are, you will start to learn exactly the things that you need that will allow you to expand and expand and expand artistically. And that's the point here. The imagination is unlimited. And when you give your imagination permission to do what it was naturally designed to do, which is expand, expand, expand without limitations, you will find yourself in a sense of worthiness and joy that just keeps coming back, keeps feeding you, never stops.
Another
So if
advantage to
you,
reading your work aloud is that you develop your own authenticity meter. So
yeah,
you're bringing your body in as a tool to help your writing. Writing isn't just something that comes from up here, just like living is not something that comes from up here. And writing is an expression of being alive. So when you write with your whole body, which includes reading your work aloud, using your vocal cords, feeling it in your body, you develop an authenticity meter, a physical authenticity meter that tells you when what you write sounds like you, feels like you, or when it doesn't, when maybe you're trying to write well, which usually means you're trying to write like somebody else that you think writes well, or it's a cliche and it doesn't really feel like it's original to you. You've just kind of taken something that's kind of only half alive and stuck it in there. You feel that in your body. So it's a really great practice for, as Navé said, for editing. That's one of the ways in which it's a great editing
mm-hmm.
tool, is that it pushes you towards the authenticity and the originality in your writing. Now
And
we can move
that
on from this topic.
we could move on. We hope we get off on this every now and then. So thanks for connecting with that. If you enjoy and if you enjoyed what you read and you like what you wrote, we encourage you to go to imaginativestorm.com, and you'll find a link to our circle community. And there you can post this on our circle community and we can interact with it. And you can interact with what we do. It's a good way to get to know each other with substance, with openness. And we are a very open community. We're not here to judge your writing. We're here to cheer the process on. And
And to
that's our
appreciate.
job, and to
Mhm.
appreciate.
Here is how you post on the Imaginative Storm Circle. Go to imaginativestorm.com, scroll over to the community page, click there, and you will see Imaginative Storm on Circle. Click there, and it will take you down to that bit of the page where it explains the circle. You can click here in the picture, and you end up at the circle. It won't look quite like this because I'm logged in and it wants me to do things. It will ask you to make a username and a password. It's also free. And once you've done that, go over here to this navigation on the left. You can explore the rest of it at some point if you like, but prompt of the week is where we're going. And in prompt of the week, you will see with the date every single prompt that we have offered for over 4.5 years. So it's quite an archive. And let's just click on one and show you how this works. So we'll click on this mural. So here you will find the first thing, the credit, then a link to our YouTube. We create a YouTube video for each prompt where we do the timing for you. And then you'll find the Saturday words and the Thursday words, and then you will see what people have posted. And well, this was a week where nobody really replied very much, but you can like what people wrote and you can reply to what they wrote. And if you want, you can upload an audio or a video. See here, Kathleen has commented on Celia's. And you can, here Navé's also uploaded an audio. And then at the very bottom, you will see this. What are your thoughts? And that is where you type in what you wrote, and you're done.
So now that you know how to work the circle, when you're at imaginativestorm.com, check out our books, our other resources, our workshops, and most especially, check out our Saturday gathering. It's free. You can come anytime you like. We'd love to have you in the community, and you can invite your friends, and they can come too.
And write in any language you like. We've had people write in French, Dutch, German, Spanish, Kirawanda. How about that? I think even Macedonian, we might have
Yeah.
had one week, certainly Russian we've had. So yeah, it is absolutely open to people around the world. We have had participants from 6 out of the 7 continents. So particularly if you're in Antarctica, we would really love to see you.
So thanks again for tuning in, and we'll see you soon.
Goodbye.